Right. Let's give it a second or two. If you have questions, feel free to ask them inside of this link that goes directly to the Q&A post. It's easier for me to track. Right, welcome Bilal, welcome Daniel, Moti, welcome Biliana, welcome Isaac, Mohammed, Paul. Paul is here. Welcome, Paul. What is this? Right here, there. Tell me something.
You so much. I'm
Well,
sitting on the mobile phone this time.
all right, no worries. I wrote in the description that Paul is going to help me.
I'll do my best.
All right, no worries. There's not a lot of questions inside the post today. No worries. All right, I wrote a short agenda right here, basic one. I'm gonna just talk about the upcoming week, do a short market analysis of the DAX and US Tech, the Nasdaq, do an update, share with you the updates that's happening inside of the community, and talk about live trading room that I posted today and for a couple of days ago regarding that. All right, let's just jump into it. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask and write them in the comment section below, and at the end, I'll try to answer them as best that I can. So the upcoming week, this is what the week is looking like. We have this is basically affecting the new session open. So we have the PPI at 2:30 happening on Monday tomorrow. This is going to affect the New York session open, and we have on Thursday the initial jobless claims. These are usually the ones that's affecting the market the most. The crude oil inventories at 4:30. From my experience, it doesn't affect the market that much. So that's why, like during these news that's happening, London session is the most ideal for me to trade and for people living in Europe to trade. I've noticed that the people living in Canada, the market session, London session opens up at 3 o'clock, which is not ideal for you to trade in. All right, so jumping into the charts, if I go to the DAX, this is what the week is looking like up ahead based on my analysis. So we just swept the monthly liquidity level right here. So when we swept the monthly liquidity level right here, this is on the monthly time frame. I jump to the weekly and I see a fair value gap react right here that can react from the market, but we have a high probability of the market continuing to the upside. Maybe giving us like it's doing right here, a break of structure on the higher time frame right here, and then continuing to the fair value gap, maybe giving a reaction to the upside and continuing and creating new all-time highs. This is what I see happening on the DAX. So in this week, I believe that we're going to have a bearish week because of the fair value gap on the weekly that's been reacted from right here. And if I jump to the DAX, to the NASDAQ, sorry about that.
May I ask you a question before?
Sure, go ahead.
Are you seeking some kind of confirmation to confirm that it will go bearish?
On the DAX, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because of the fair value gap reaction we see here on the weekly.
Okay.
And these levels also, I don't know what the name of these levels are. A breaker, I usually call them. I marked them out as orange, gave us a reaction on it. So now we haven't touched the 50% mark of the fair value gap yet,
Okay.
but it can it can likely do a lower low, lower high,
Mm,
and higher high, and then continue on the trend to the upside based on
understand.
the fair value gap.
Thank you.
So if I go to the Nasdaq, same thing there. So the market usually, because of the war, did a huge drop down to the downside and took out these high time frame liquidities or monthly liquidities, and now it's reacting to the upside. And this is what I see happening also, continuing to the upside. And the DAX, during the London session, you can see that the correlation between the DAX and the Nasdaq is happening pretty close. They mimic each other pretty well. So what we're seeing on the Nasdaq right here is the continuation to the upside, basically. Maybe taking out these weekly liquidities. Let me do like that. Taking out these liquidities, doing a drawdown to the downside, and then continuing up, creating new all-time highs. Because we are trading on we have the 1 minute model and the 50-minute model. These high time frame analysis, I don't usually do them because it's not that affecting me in the day to day. Because if I was swing trading, now this would be interesting to me. So the last week I posted a lot. Excuse me about that. I posted a lot. It seems like I was scamming the community, but I missed the alerts and I missed sending them to you based on that we are probably now in the bullish market going up um, right now. All right. Any questions so far, or should I jump to the next point? Mm, let's see here. So updates inside of the community. We have new members coming in on a weekly basis, and I appreciate you guys helping out because it's coming to the point where I can't answer all of them. People are sending me private messages, and I'm trying to engage in the community as much as possible and helping out as much as possible. And I appreciate you guys helping out and helping other community members or new members coming in inside of the community. It feels like we're building something good here. We're helping each other out. And as I talked with some of the community members right here, I would love to have some feedback regarding the courses, how they can improve, how you can benefit more from them, so you can get the most value out of them. And and yeah, just give me a second. Sorry. But I had the rice on and it starts smelling different. Okay. Updates inside of the community. Also, if you have a question, I talked to Paul about this. There is something called FAQ. So FAQ stands for frequently asked questions, right? And in this community, we have discussions, MTP, automation, setup, and support when somebody has an issue with uh, with setting up something. The thing you could do if you are wondering how to unlock to level 2 for certain, you just search level 2 right here in the search bar. So when you search level 2, you see all the discussions that's happening around level 2. Why can't I unlock the strategy course? Because you're not at level 2, and you can see the description why are the levels closed or locked. So this search area, you can search for members. I can search for Andrea, let's say. I can search for Andrea, and I can also look at the member right here, and I can chat with them or talk to them. So this platform is used basically as a gamification of everything you need to be able to guide yourself through it. And feel free to ask questions as posts. If you're thinking that where is the overnight range? What is the liquidity? What does this mean and this mean and this mean? That's fine. Just create a post and some of us inside of the community will jump in and help you out as from the information that we know, so we can help each other out. Um, that's about that. Um, and last but not least, I'm creating a live trading room. Some of you guys have been asking for me to do a live trading. I've recorded some videos just to show you that example of how it could look like. And if you're interested, just put your name on the waiting list, and I'll get back to you as soon as it's going live, when we're going to start setting it up. I can see that most people are trading the London session. The majority of people are trading the London session. So I'm thinking about looking at what are we going to trade. Are we trading the both sessions, or are we just sticking to the London session for now and see what happens? All right. Let me jump to the link.
There weren't so many questions this day.
No. Hello, Mustafa. Hello, team. Hello, all. Very helpful to everyone. Thank you for your patience. Coach, can you explain the overnight range? What is the correct session? All right, I can explain the overnight range. So the overnight range, I'm going to make it easy. You know what? Accumulation, manipulation, distribution, trading. So you have 3 sessions, or 4, the Sydney session. Can you see my screen before I go on and talk?
Yes.
Yes.
So we have the accumulation part, manipulation part, and distribution part. So every session, every trading day basically has, this is more clear, has 3 sessions. We have Sydney session, but Sydney session is not counted inside of this. So if I jump to the chart, we have accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. So the overnight range is happening between the Asia session open and, as it shows in the picture, at maybe 10 o'clock of the London session. But that's not how I use the strategy. That's not how I use the school run. By the way, school run is created through Trader Tom. I'm not the one that created the strategy. I'm taking bits and pieces of the strategy that works for me on the DAX and NQ. So the overnight range is the accumulation, and the thing that happens is, if the overnight range doesn't happen during the accumulation part in Asia session, it moves to the right. So the accumulation part becomes the London session, and the London session becomes the accumulation part. So we use the same principle when the New York session happens. Let me draw it out for you. All right. So if it doesn't work, we have the Asia session, London session, New York session. If it doesn't accumulate in the Asia session, this just moves to the right, right? And the London session becomes the accumulation part, and the New York session becomes the manipulation part. So when we are in the New York session opens right here, or New York session the new opening becomes right here, and we wait for the first 15-minute candle to close, either above or below the range, and we take this trade right here based on the liquidity level that we see on the left side. So it all depends. The easiest way to do this based on your time zone. I'm not sure where your time zone is, Sabs, but the easiest way to do this, just press on this, go to +2, because +2 is my time zone. And the thing you want to mark out is you want to create a vertical line at 9 o'clock and you want to create a vertical line at 8 o'clock, and then you want to create a vertical line at 3:30 right there, and 2:30 right there. And after doing that, you just switch back to your time zone. And then you can see directly, because I'm basing this based on my time zone, which is UTC +2, and then you change back to your time zone after you market this out, and you can see what time London session opens and what time New York session opens, and you can use the accumulation part, manipulation, and the overnight range. All right, that's about it. Hope that explains it. And also the overnight range, when you market, let me just. I'm gonna jump here. This is on Friday, right? When you mark out the overnight range, you're basically waiting for, this is 8 o'clock and this is 8 and 9 o'clock. You're basically waiting for the market Asia session open to happen. There's always a low and there's always a high in the Asia session. Sometimes the high just continues all the way like this, and then it gives us a break like this. This is the overnight range. Then it becomes this way right here. But because we had this on Friday, so this is the overnight range. I'm not counting the overnight range further than 8 o'clock pre-London session open. And I'm waiting for the first 15-minute candle to close, and I'm taking the trade from there. All right, that's the overnight range. Let me just close the door. So when you say you need clear overnight range, are you referring to have a clear accumulation as part of the AMD? So when you say clear overnight range, are you referring to? Yes, that's basically what I'm thinking of. Because having a clear accumulation part will create a clear manipulation and eventually a distribution part. If I look back on what happened on Friday, this is so clear. There's also indicators that can mark these out for you. So this is what happened on Friday. There's the accumulation part. This is the manipulation part, right? And this is the distribution part with the New York session. 1, 2, and 3. So we want to have the accumulation part clear. Hope that answered your question. Let's jump in. Is there any questions right here? I'm a little bit confused about the session, for example, pre-market and market open for Asia. London, New York. I mainly trade futures, S&P and Nasdaq. It's the same. It's the same market open and the sessions hours. Just do the what I explained regarding the UTC +2. Mark out this UTC +2. It's at 2:30 and then 3:30, and that's London's New York session. And London session is at 9, and then at 8 is the pre-market. All right.
Can I ask something? For
Yeah, sure.
registration, does it start at 12 a.m. or 2 a.m.?
The Asia session?
+2. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
also UTC +2.
All right. It starts basically at, let me do this. I have the indicator. It starts at midnight, basically. But midnight is not shown. You see, it jumps between 21:45 to 2 o'clock. The low that is created there, that's the one.
Okay,
so it's midnight. Sorry?
So the range I take, it's from midnight to 8 a.m.
Yes, 7, 8 a.m. based on the high or the low created.
Okay.
So you can
Thank
see
you.
in this scenario, there's no high. There's no really a high. There's a higher high right here based on the 8 o'clock. So the 8 o'clock opened right here. It means that you shouldn't put the high right there. You should put the high of the session.
Yes.
Uh,
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. All right. Hi, Mustafa. So would this also be true? Sorry, there's all other questions right here. Why don't you take the one between 8 and 9 market two? Because why don't you take the one between 8 and 9? Why don't I take the one between 8 and 9? I'm not sure why I don't take it. I don't take it because it hasn't worked for me. I don't trade pre-market open. The pre-market open gives me another direction because something is happening between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock, and this area, to trade between these areas right here, is quite uncertain. And it's not that volatile as you might want. It's quite uncertain to happen what happens between pre-market and market open. So the ones I've backtested that I've used for a while now is to indicate the Asia session from the Asia session open to the pre-market open. Feel free to try. Feel free to try the low from the pre-market that's happening right here. Because we are dependent on the first 50-minute candle that's happening when the market opens. All right. So would this also be true for metals, the overnight range with AMD? Metals? I'm not sure. It's not fair of me to speak about other symbols that I'm not trading. The ones I'm doing and I'm focused on that I know works is on the DAX and US Tech, the NQ, Nasdaq. So it wouldn't be fair to me to ask or answer about the metals. What do you mean specifically metals? Is it a specific symbol you're talking about, Andrea? All right. Ade, what does overnight range for New York session start? It's just like the accumulation part. So you have the accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. The overnight range for London session is the Asia session, and the overnight range for the New York session is the London session. So the overnight range for the New York session will be, for this scenario, right here. The low and the high, pre-market open. This is the overnight range for the New York session. And I want you also to notice, this is what my mentor is doing. My mentor is the first 15-minute candle that he sees, he reverses the trend. I don't want to confuse you guys, but if the first 15-minute candle is negative, the trend is bullish. Because if the first 15-minute candle is bearish, the trend becomes bullish because the sellers are coming in and the banks and institutions wants to take them out by going long, by buying. And if the first 15-minute candle that's inside the overnight range, by the way, that's inside the box. And if the first 15-minute candle is positive, meaning a bullish candle, then the trend is bearish because sellers are coming in. Or sorry, sellers are coming in and the banks and institutions wants to take them out. Buyers are coming in and the banks and institutions want to take them out to go short. Excuse me. All right. Great questions. All right. Yeah, sorry. XLD used went back on the charts from the start of this year and 90% on the overnight range. Accurate. Want to backtest more, but so far it looks positive. Yeah, feel free to try it out. Feel free to try that. This is not cut in stone, as you say. If it works on DAX and Nasdaq, it doesn't mean that it doesn't work on as gold, And if you've tried it on gold and backtested it on gold, sure, go ahead, give it a try. If it works for you, it works for you. It can work on other symbols also. I assume this also works, by the way, in UK 100 on the FTSE with the overnight range. If you want to try working with that also. So why you and Mark until 9 o'clock London session open? Why until the pre-market? So why you Mark until 9 o'clock London open? Why until the pre-market? Because that's what works for me. That's what works based on the strategy that I'm using regarding the school run. Feel free to try it. Feel free to try what works for you. If it works for you to take it all the way to 8:30 maybe, it works for you for 8:30. You can take the trade from there. If it works for you to have it only to pre-market open London session, it can work. So the why I'm using it between midnight to 8 o'clock max is because that's what's worked for me in the past. And that's what's continuing to work for me in the future. If it's not broke, don't fix it, as they say. How do you mean, Ade? But I think what you mentioned now is different from the school run rules. Have to go rewatch the recording, Mustafa. I have a clear couple of questions. Thank you. Great, thank you for joining us. Let's see if we have any more questions right here. All right. I don't think we have any more questions right here. I'd love to know if somebody has an issue or you're stuck somewhere or you're stuck. You're stuck. You're not. Something is not downloading, or you're stuck in a strategy. You don't get the liquidity or something. Feel free to share it. Feel free to write it as a post because somebody knows something that you do, that you don't, and it will just one post will save you 4 days by just asking it. All right. I'm trying to answer as many questions as I can inside of the community. The easier and the less text there is, picture, a little short text, short explanation with some room so I can read it quickly and just do my best to answer it as quickly as possible. So the easier the explanation, not a lot of AI, if you know what I mean, the better, the more I get it. And I can respond quickly. All right. Great to have you joining us today. If there isn't more questions, I will call it a day. And thank you for joining us. All right, guys, take care and talk to you
Thank
tomorrow
you.
inside of the community. Thank you.